Live long and prosper. Who remembers that from Mr. Spock in the Star Trek era, the Star Trek days? When I was growing up, we watched all of those. There wasn't that much choice. There wasn't that much selection for television and for entertainment when we were kids. Yes, I am that old. Welcome to day 177 of our Supersize You annual challenge. Today we're talking about longevity habits or live long and prosper, because don't we all want to do both? Now, I would contend we want to live well more than we necessarily want to live just long. We want to be healthy and have pay attention to our health span, not just longevity. Longevity isn't just living longer. It takes into account our health span, meaning what can we do as we age, and what can we continue to do, and how do we live a healthy lifestyle where we have the energy and the activity level that we want as we hit our 80s and 90s. And now people are living longer, so we want to make sure we take care of ourselves along the way so we can enjoy our later years. People have different philosophies on that. Mine is, I want to be around a while, so I'm going to take better care of myself than I did before I had a health event. I guess it was more than a health event. It was a death event, but we're not talking about that today. We are talking about how do we live long? How do we live well? How do we live long and prosper? We'll talk about three different things. One is blue zones. They've done studies and they have found that in certain areas with certain conditions, people live much longer than other areas. They're called blue zones. I don't really know much about them. I've vaguely heard a few things about them. A gentleman by the name of, and I'm going to look it up so I don't get it wrong, Dan Buttner wrote a book called The Blue Zones, and he does, he shared in that things that impact and places and zones that more people that live longer live. They tend to be in certain environments and have certain characteristics. And if you want to live long and prosper, that's probably something that we would want to check out. Obviously, I'm not that concerned with it because I've never read the book. I'm just delighted to be here. So I think it's something to look into if that's a concern of yours. I am 66 years old, and so I want to hang around for another 20 plus years. And that means there's certain areas and certain habits that I've adopted, one right now, that may or may not be good for me, right? Drinking too much coffee used to be one of my very bad habits. Now I have 1 to 2 cups a day max, which gives me energy, keeps me going, but also I don't overdo it. I don't do hardly anything in excess, except maybe work. I might work a little too much, but that is my joy, so that's what I like to do. Longevity, like I said, it isn't just about living longer. It's about the quality of your life as you age. So many people, and I think that it's because it's a limiting belief. I think so many people expect that they're going to wear their bodies out or that they're going to have problems in their old age, that they actually create those in their lives. They do the things that make those things happen. They have found in these blue zones that people in the areas tend to share habits. They live a plant-based diet. They move daily. They don't just sit in their chair watching the boob tube. They get up and they move around, and they're active no matter how old they are. They live in strong communities, and they have a sense of purpose, and they know how to manage their stress level. Okay. I'm way better now at managing my stress level than I used to be, if you can imagine that, because I'm a little high strung sometimes, but I also know how important it is that when I catch myself, and the sooner I catch myself kind of blowing a gasket or freaking out or worrying or doubting or fearing or any other negative emotion, I try to nip it in the butt. I try to say, okay, why is that happening? Why is this happening? And then I try to do something about it and change it. Or I just change my physiology. I go for a walk. I do something. That is a good habit. Catching ourselves when we're going off the rails is an incredibly powerful habit, because we create everything inside of us first, all of our emotions, all of our feelings. And it can be something as simple as a smell that triggers a past memory that gets us gone down the wrong direction, the wrong path. Habits for longevity include things like, we've talked about a lot of these this month, strength training. We want to prevent aging in both our mind and body. So we not only just want to strengthen our body, we want to improve our emotional intelligence, how we respond and react to things, things like our primary question. We'll talk about these things throughout the year. What am I thinking? Cardio. We should do some cardio. And guess what? The older we get, walking is just plain fine. If I had to pick one exercise that I could do for the rest of my life, and the only exercise I could do for the rest of my life, it would be walking. Why? Because it involves our entire body, right? Our whole body has to walk. It involves a little bit of cardio, but not enough cardio to send my ICD off. It helps with brain. Well, brain health is another thing we want to take into account. Social connection, purpose. If we have those things, those are habits for longevity. If you're missing any one of those things, you could do a little checklist. Strength training. How strong am I? Cardio. Do I do any? How often do I do it? What am I doing to keep my brain healthy? Some of the sharpest, healthiest people I know are people that adopt the habit of doing puzzles, crossword puzzles. So there's all kinds of different games and puzzles, word search puzzles. My mom does, what are they called? Cryptograms, where they're coded and you have to decode the code in order to figure out what the message is. She loves those. She's always had a very sharp mind, and she's 89 plus. But she does those things. She's got the habit of things. She prays. She hangs around, has a great social community. She stays active. She goes to, they have, I don't know, is it a balance class in her housing area? She lives in a wonderful community. So she actually lives in a blue zone. It's much more active than I am in terms of socially. It's really interesting. So what's our action item with respect to this today? And we're going to talk about the U in our super framework. And I'm going to grab a tool for that because I like tools. Pardon me. I still have this crazy cold. I can't believe it's hanging on this long. Action item. Boy, senior moment. That's what they call those. Our action item for today is to adopt one blue zone habit. So we said those habits are eating mostly plants. The closer we get to something from nature that isn't processed or messed up with by humanity, the better off we are when it comes to any eating. If you only have one rule or one activity, one rule, that is eat as close to nature and natural products that you can. If you can do organic, right? And I won't even get into my diatribe on inorganic. I was in the food industry for 35 years plus. So, 35 years. No, a little more than 35 years. So I have strong opinions about it, but we get to each have our own opinions. So pick one of those habits. Sustainable pace so that we don't burn out. Move naturally throughout the day. Don't just sit around and do sitting activities. Get out and do something. Move your body. It doesn't have to be strenuous, but we want to keep mobile. That one's automatic for me. I got bad arthritis in my 20s, my early 20s. And I learned pretty early on that the only remedy for that was to get my rear in gear and get moving every single day. Connect with your loved ones, have a sense of purpose, manage stress, and then make these habits, not just occasional things. Find ways to build these habits into every single day of your life. Eating healthy, you can build into and make a habit. Moving your body, habit. Connecting with other humans, habit, right? All of these things can be just a part of your natural life, and they will expand the length of your life and the quality of your life as well. You can ask yourself some questions. Am I living in a way that will give me a long, healthy, active life? You know the answer to that. No judgment from me, but you need to be brutally honest with yourself. I got some habits lately. I have gotten much less active because I'm in a coaching program than I normally am. And I know as soon as I'm done with this, bam, I am back on my daily activities with respect to moving my body and health. I've been sitting around way too much learning things, and I love learning, don't get me wrong, but it's not the same as actively moving my body. I think I need one of those walking desks or something so I can stand at my computer and do things, or stand. A lot of times I'll ride my exercise bike and watch on my big screen TV because I have vision challenges. So what habits are you doing that are stealing years from your future? Got any of those? I used to have them, but I don't much anymore. At 80 or 90, what do you still want to be able to do? I think these are great questions to help us move forward with respect to living long and prospering. Love to hear your take on this. Share in the comments below one habit that you're going to start today or continue today. If you've already got this nailed, just say, hey, I got this in the comments below. As far as the U in our super framework goes, it stands for uncovering what is. We specified our target, what it is that we want yesterday. Now today, we're going to be brutally honest with ourselves in terms of what is. And I have found one of the quickest, easiest ways to uncover this. And we're doing it. You pick the physical thing that you are doing this for, your physical goal. I like to use the wants, don't wants list. Because if I ask 10 people, what do you want? And I do it every single day, most people can't answer that. I would say 80 to 90% of people, if you ask them what they want, they will start listing off all the things that they don't want. And so I turn that into an exercise where we list all of the things we don't want about our physical health and well-being. And then normally I would do that before I even pick my goal area. But the way we set our process up this year, we talk about and focus on the goal and what we want first. Then we ask ourselves what the heck is going on to form the gap between where we are and where we want to be, right? And that's what the rest of the process feels, just like the SOAP framework. Are you starting to see a pattern in my frameworks here? I see the pattern in my frameworks because they work, and that's why I want them. So make a list of the things you don't want physically, and then ask yourself, just what's the opposite of that? A lot of people want to make this more complicated than that, but let's just keep it simple, because as we age, simplicity enhances our life. If you go through, I think, decades of, or I personally went through decades of chaos to figure out that I was making life way more complicated than it had to be, and I just needed to keep things simple and focus on what I wanted and what matched up with my core values and my purpose are. Curious if you know personally what your purpose is. Share in the comments below, I know or I don't know, if you're open to doing that. I struggled with what my purpose was until I had my sudden cardiac arrest, and then when I came out of the coma, I absolutely positively knew what it was, which is mind-boggling to me. All right, if I can help you in any way, hit me up and ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day. Share the one longevity habit to live long and prosper. I can't do my Spock anymore. I'm out of practice. And make it an absolutely amazing day. Here if you need help. Otherwise, I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.